Man, so Bitcoin is approaching a critical level, which if we do not hold this level, this could suggest some serious downside risk on Bitcoin. I'm going to be sharing exactly what these levels are, what happens if we break them, what happens if we get the expected bounce from this level, and what this means for Phantom and our favorite altcoins as well. So make sure you stay tuned till the very end. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be looking at some of the macroeconomics as well. We'll be also looking at some on-chain metrics today. So we're in for a jam-packed episode. So make sure you're sat back comfortably. I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, but I'm committed to bringing you these updates nonetheless. So bear with me in today's episode. Also, don't forget to check out NordVPN, who've been kind enough to help us bring you these videos on these daily updates, these blends between technicals and fundamental analysis, which hopefully you guys are getting used to by now. Check them out, links in the description. Stay safe in crypto, guys. I'm not just saying this. I've used a VPN for a very long time, and I used NordVPN well before they offered to help out this channel. So consider getting yourself set up on a VPN. $2 or $3 a month. It's absolute no-brainer. If you have any serious money in crypto or just generally any care for your online privacy, you'll get yourself set up on a VPN. It's even useful if you want to, stream different episodes of Netflix from different countries, or if you're traveling and you want to carry on watching the F1 or anything like that. It's super useful for those purposes as well. But obviously for crypto, anytime I'm on an exchange, anytime I'm logging into Metaverse or NFTs or anything like that, I'm doing so through VPN. Right, let's get straight into the chart. It's been a crazy weekend here. And now remember, let's just zoom out. This is the daily chart here on Bitcoin, and we're up about 0.8% today. We're sitting at 39,400 at the time of recording this video, as you can see just under my picture there. And Phantom is up 2% as Bitcoin continues to hold. We'll come onto the Phantom chart very shortly, but here on Bitcoin, you can see that we were going for a W pattern, right? Now, this neckline here at 44.5, we got rejected again. This was the third time that we've monitored that we've been rejected from this very important 44,500 roughly key level here for Bitcoin. And we got sent to the downside quite powerfully. 3 strong red days to the downside. Obviously, we've been monitoring the macro reasons in the economy that have been causing this, and we can see we're heading to the downside. Now, the important thing is that we stay within this wedge. If we can stay in this wedge, we could be creating a pattern which could help us create something like this to the upside. But of course, this also has a probability of breaking to the downside, okay? So we have to keep an eye on that and look for the key levels on this too. But we head over into the 4-hourly and just get zoomed into this wedge here. This is the same 44,500 level we've been rejected from once, twice, and thrice. And now we're heading down. You can see we're getting some important support from 39,150. That's great. We know that's a key level which we've been fighting for a few times. You can see here, we got some support here. Here, it's an important level for us. If we can bounce from there, fantastic. We don't even need to come all the way down. But we do have some support at the wedge if we needed it to come further lower down, almost up to 38,000. Now, what we cannot afford to do is lose this level. That's the absolute worst level here. If we lose this pivot point here at, I'll give you the exact level, 34,322 on this point, that would not be ideal, okay? That would trigger further risk to the downside, because if we lose that level, then we're looking back down here at the 32 region, where we just about saved ourselves from producing a lower low than the 29 from summer 2021. Okay, so really important that we hold that. And in fact, I'd even not want to go lower than this. So it's really important that we get a bounce from this wedge, because I really don't want to be going below 37, which is this pivot point. Because remember, we had our 34 low, we managed to create the higher low. Ideally, we want to keep another higher low, okay, guys? So we can keep this pattern going. Hopefully, we break through 44.5 this time, because it'll be the 4th time we've tried. And with good volume, we can create a higher high. And then if we look at it from the daily view, if we manage to do that, let me just get zoomed in again. If we can manage to do that, we'd then be setting ourselves up for a nice move, right? Because what would have happened? We would have had our low at 32, would have had our low at 37, a higher low, and then we would have posted a high above 44,500, and then we look good that we can carry on. Even if it's a sideways movement, at least we're not going back into a downward trend. So those are the critical levels we're looking for here on Bitcoin. Now, it's good we're getting some support. Let me just head over to the hourly, and you'll see we're getting some support here. Look at the last few hourly candles. The red dotted line is the start of the day today, okay? So that was midnight, and you can see we've just been hovering around this level, trying to fight for this level at 39,150. Now we're getting a couple of hours of strength. So could this be the turning point? Can we work our way towards 41,659? Now, the worrying thing, of course, which has been the backdrop throughout all of this, is the tensions don't seem to be getting any better, right? US urges Americans to leave Russia. Putin warns against Ukrainian no-fly zone. These kind of things will not help the market. But if you look at the futures, you've got the Dow futures down 0.6%, S&P down 0.9%, and the Nasdaq down a further 1.6%. This is not great. We know in the next 5 days, so next week, we're getting the Feb CPI reading. That's March the 10th. Make sure it's marked in your calendars. 6 days after that, FOMC, the Fed, Jerome Powell will announce what is our first interest rate hike going to look like. Is it going to be 0.25%? So we've got a lot going on. Investors have a lot to weigh in on, and it's spooking the market right now. And you can see that just by the pure red in the market. It is not fun out there right now. The volatility index continued to spike. On Friday, it was up almost 5%. Now, the thing with the conflict is this kind of rhetoric is going to be powerfully spooky against the market. Now, remember, like, again, without getting political, just looking at it from a sheer investment point of view, if you're looking at a conflict which is an isolated conflict between, let's say, Russia and Ukraine, that is one thing, and the market will price that in accordingly. If we start to see that this could proliferate, that is where there'll be a whole new level of pricing that into the market. So any lows we think we've had, we can get much worse lows to the downside if that happens. And what I mean by that is things like Putin warns against Ukrainian no-fly zone, right? And if you click into that, it'll be Putin saying that anybody who, let's see if we can find it so I can. Also on Saturday, Russian President Vladimir Putin warned that he would consider any third parties that declare no-fly zone over Ukraine to be participant in the conflict. Okay, so play this out, guys. So let's say a country in the EU decides to put a no-fly zone on Russia. By definition, what Putin's just said there, they would be part of the conflict. If they're part of the conflict and Putin therefore has an offensive against them and does something to them, whether let's say militarily or he does something to them, now by Article 5 of NATO, if that's a NATO member, then all of NATO have to react, okay? So it just takes a few crazy things to happen. It could just take one annoyed Ukrainian neighbor to send a missile across into Russia, right? Poland or any other country nearby, and the whole of NATO would have to go and support, because obviously Russia's not going to just take a missile. They're going to fight back versus that NATO member, okay? So these kind of things really do spook the market. It's really worrying. Things like we heard on Friday about the nuclear plant, and Zelensky was saying this is, really bad for Europe. I mean, it turns out a lot of that was just misinformation. It seems as though that nuclear plant wasn't attacked directly. I think there was some fires nearby, which made it seem like that, but there doesn't seem to be any nuclear fallout at this point. So that's good news. That protects this from escalating any further for now. So definitely that's something for us to keep an eye on in terms of our investment portfolios. If we look at the fear and greed index, fear has come back with vengeance. It's now sitting at 22. If I pull this back up on the yearly chart, you can see how quickly this has fallen. In a four days or so, we've gone from 51 to back to 22. And this is what happens, guys. We get massive moves in fear and greed index because this is how you shake out the market. And speaking of shaking out the market, yesterday, Friday, was on its own $250 million of longs liquidated. So guys, if you're still trading 100x leverage because these moon boys on YouTube are telling you, click the link in the description, get yourself 100x even though you've never margin traded in your life, you are getting wrecked. Welcome to getting wrecked. Absolutely, this is what you guys know I despise long leverage positions. It's just asking for trouble, but for whatever reason people like to do it, and maybe because all these YouTubers are pumping it. So yeah, happy days for them. Now that's also why I said there's gonna be plenty of false starts in this market, guys. I've spoken about this for a while. We're gonna get a lot of false starts, and what I mean by false starts is going to think like we're on the move, and then no, we're going to get red candles to the downside. Like, look at that. We thought we're on a move? No. Thought we're on a move? No. Thought we're on a move? No. And this is going to keep happening for a while, guys, okay? And I go watch my videos from weeks back. Go to these dates and watch the videos. I kept saying that because it's so easy for sell wars, market makers, and bears to sit at this line and dump shares at this point. It's just like, it's clockwork. It's easy. Dump shares. And what happens is all those silly, long leverage folks, they cause the rest of the liquidations. $250 million right there. Boom. Right? So nobody sat there. No bear is sat there with $250 million causing the market to dump by that much. They just need to set off the first few percent. Okay? They just dump the first few percent at the top of the wall here, And then the rest of the fools do it to themselves because they're so leveraged long, greedy to ride this wave from 40 to 69 for free because they're trying to time the market back in. Anyway, we can rant on about that for another time. Now, let's quickly look at the Phantom charts. Then I'm going to get into the on-chain metrics. There's a lot to cover off today, so make sure you're staying tuned till the very end. It's a jam-packed episode here. So as Bitcoin is trying to hold that level, which I've just shared with you, you can see Phantom is getting some strength as well, and that is from 165, okay? So we dipped a little bit below. We're trying to hold this important level for us here at 165. Thereafter, if we lose this level, I'm next looking at the next pivot point, which sits at about 156, and then we don't get support until 147. Obviously, the worst case, which is if Bitcoin starts falling to its level of 37 and then 34, is we're looking to then work our way back to 126 or 116. Okay, so 116 is probably where we get to if Bitcoin wants to go down to 32, and 126 is the direction we probably head to if Bitcoin wants to get to 37. So those are the levels I'm looking out for. I'm definitely not buying just yet, but if you guys were desperate to buy in this position, this is what you call a pullback, right? This is the option. This is why you don't panic in or you don't panic out. So if you just take that move from the top here, for all of you who are trying to buy and follow the green candles, already you've got a 22% discount just by waiting 2 days, right, to enter your position. So there's never a rush, even when you think things are going and, oh, look, Phantom's at $2 now. It's never going to be back at 160. No, be patient. There's always pullbacks. Doesn't mean I don't believe in Phantom. Just means you need to be a smart investor and everything always pulls back. Let it come to you. Be smart, be methodical, and enter your positions. Right, let's look at some positives. And we can see that net flows, which is your inflows minus your outflows from all exchanges, are still good. They're still negative, right? So which means that we're still seeing money being taken off exchanges, which is good. If money's been taken off exchanges, if Bitcoin, has been taken off exchanges, that means you've got long-term hodlers holding that supply. So that's looking good from here. We got the tick from there. If we look at miners' reserves, they're still moving pretty sideways. That's this purple line here. We're not seeing massive sells or movement from the miners, which is a good sign from on-chain perspective. Very quickly, and by the way, shout out to Crypto Quant for providing these diagrams. For movement to the upside as well. If you look at the reserves on exchanges for miners, again, pretty much sideways, not seeing massive movements to the downside or massive dumps here from the recent price move here on Bitcoin. And then finally, the miner outflows, we can't see a massive sell-off here. It all looks pretty sensible. So from an on-chain perspective, things are looking pretty good. There you go, guys. There is your update. There is your Saturday update on what's happening in the markets for Bitcoin, for Phantom. We're coming up to some critical levels. Again, rewatch that video if it was a little bit fast. Go back to the Bitcoin levels, note down some of those key levels, and obviously Phantom and a lot of our altcoins are going to move in relation to that. If you're looking to enter the market and it's your first time coming in, be smart, wait for the pullbacks, and then enter. If you're already in and you've bought the dip and you've bought the dip and you've bought the dip and you're out of cash, patient, see the course, dollar cost average if you can. Not got any cash, just be patient, let it see its course out. Like I said, there's gonna be plenty of false starts for various reasons. The high leverage in the system of people being greedy and trying to run this all the way back up to 69 for free and profit from it. You've also got the Ukraine-Russia tensions, and you've got the CPI reading and the first interest rate hike coming within the next 11 days. So crazy times coming up. Expect more volatility. I'll be with you throughout this week. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer those. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to link up a video to the one rule you need in crypto. Make sure you click this end screen, guys. This video explains the importance of this one rule which so few people follow, yet they spend so much time looking at charts, looking at patterns, watching videos like this, right? But they don't understand this one critical rule. And I really think this is the one rule that I obey by, which I think has brought me so much of my success. So make sure you do that. Don't forget to check out NordVPN as always. Links in the description. Coupon code OLDMAN will get you 70% off. All right, watch this video and I'll see you in the next one.